Guys, it's the middle of September. I was just rocking out listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire September. Ba-de-ya-de-ya-de-ya. Watching the words. I love our portal. It has all the words. But beside the point, it is September and I love it. I love maintaining my garden and I love planting things. I love July and August because you get a break from it. And fall to me feels like spring because we get to do a lot of planting and we get to transplant. But today what I'm talking about is I'm going to be cleaning and planting and cutting back some things. And the way I do this in my garden so I'm not overwhelmed, I have always divided my garden into sections. And today I'm doing the side of the house, which I'm only cutting off my little Siberian Iris, which are wonderful little plants. And I'm going to be doing the garden by the water barrel. And then another day this week, I'll go down and do the terraced areas. And then another day, I'll do the island bed, which might take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes because I'm only cutting back what needs to be cut back. And if you do it little by little, it's never overwhelming. If you're a new garden and you love gardening, don't let it overwhelm you. Do it in small increments like you clean your house. You know, you don't do the whole house in one day unless you're Reg and I, and we do a clean sweep on Wednesdays. Come by, we should video that sometime. But today we're working in the garden, so let's do a video on that. Let's do a clean sweep. It's so much fun. We have a lot of fun doing a clean sweep. But today we're going to cut back these little Siberian Iris. What I like about them, they're deer resistant. They grow in pretty much any soil. These came from my mom's house. She was quite a gardener. I don't know how she did it with 5 kids, you know, 4 under the age of 5. But she did a big garden, which you've heard me tell stories. I always raised my hand. Yes, I will scythe, I will weed eat, I will hoe the potatoes. Give me anything but the one toilet in the house for 7 people. But these Siberian Iris, they're pretty tolerant of everything. I'll throw a little compost. They stay in a nice mounding form. And I think they get, I'll put it on the screen, but they get maybe 12 inches tall, pretty little purple ones. But this time of year when they start flopping over like they did, I just cut them back and they survive all of our winters. I'm in zone 6, but in the spring, I think we're zone 5s, 5Bs. We get the snows, we get the frost, we get horrible Aprils and May. So I don't know. I don't agree totally with our area. So we're going to walk down here. Before I start cutting back other things, I have a nice stand of my lavender. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut back some of these nice flower heads because I like to dry them. And I want to show you how easy it is to do. Just cut them back. I don't worry about stripping off any of the leaves. Cut out the nice strong heads. This one, I wouldn't, because you can see it's starting to, can you get a good view of that? It's starting to deteriorate a little bit, but you still could. It smells so good. But I'm going to cut back the nicer flowers. I've done this all summer long. It does really well up here. The deer don't eat it because of the scent. They like a well-drained soil, and they don't need a lot of moisture. Nice plant. If you can get it to grow in your garden, grow it. And then I love the blue-green foliage. It's so pretty up here. I like the way it lops against the stairs because when you walk by, it just, I love the scent. And it's wonderful to dry because you can wrap it around presents. I do that a lot. If I had a signature, it might be that I try and put a little lavender around every gift bag I have. Oops. Hopefully that didn't make a long sound, large sound. So I'm going to cut this, and what I do, I take it in my basement. That looks like I've gotten most of the ones. And what I do, it's really simple. I'll separate that out like this. And I will tie a string around the edge, because you'd be surprised how easy it is to dry your herbs, your flowers. I'll wrap it around here and tie it, take it to the basement where I have my laundry area. I'll tie it to a hanger and let that dry, and it dries nice and straight and it lasts forever, and the color holds up beautifully. So I'm going to set these here in the shade, a little shady spot until I'm ready, to finish that up. And I'm going to keep cutting on my lavender till, you know, it starts to frost and bring it inside. The other thing I've been doing, your herbs like your basils, your thyme, your oregano, start bringing some of that in and drying that. And I do all of mine in the microwave at 30-second increments. You lay a paper towel down, take the leaves off, separate them out, put another towel, paper towel on top, and then hit 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds till it's nice and crispy. And you'd be surprised how quickly you fill up jars. So Reg and I have been doing that for a while. But this is we've had a lot of rain. We just had a big rain shower before we came out. And it's so nice to have a rain barrel, particularly if you keep the hose up, right, Reg?
Right.
Last week, I've had an empty rain barrel until yesterday, because last week I kept saying, Reggie, it's pouring the rain down, and my rain barrel's not working. I kept thinking there was a problem with the downspout. No, if this isn't up, look what happens. So the hose had fallen off, and I didn't see it. All the barrel was dry, but now I'm able to redo it. What I'm not going to do, give them a shot. This is wonderful. I don't know if that's the best perspective, but I'm not ready to take this pot apart. I have taken 3 of my pots, the one going down to the garden, the one by the dining area, and the one in the driveway, because I'm getting tired of watering, but this one's just too pretty here. I love it when I walk out from the garden. And when I took the one pot out that had a sweet potato vine by the dining area, this is a sweet potato from that. Now, you don't want to eat these. I've never eaten them, but I've read they're not very tasty, but that's huge. I'm curious as to how big the sweet potato is going to be in that pot with the size of this sweet potato vine. That may never happen again, but that's probably what I want to do, unless a better vine comes out that would make your painting look so pretty. But here's a sweet potato vine that will go in the compost. Now, what we're going to do 2 today is I've got to choose which one of these 3 plants left from the garden show I'm going to plant. I'm not going to plant this one in a pot. I got this double play doozy spirea, and that's for another video at another time. I've got to decide where in the garden this is going to go. But I told you I am going to plant one in a pot. You always want to plant your pot. This is the hydrangea. Yeah, this is the little quickfire, and it says on the tag it's good for specimen pots. Now I'm going to put it in a pot. This is a 4-inch pot. This is a 9-inch pot. I thought I'd put it in this pot, but I'm afraid it's too big, and I want to get the root system started in this. So that's the last thing we're going to do. Let me go ahead and that's the last thing we're going to do before I finish up this little bit of cleanup up here. So in this garden are daylilies I'm going to clean up. And again, for a beginning gardener, it's so easy to cut back your daylily plants. You come down here, you're going to get, this is middle of September. You will get some growth back, but by the time you get your first frost where you are, it'll be easier to clean off than to wait and have to clean off all these heavier stems. So I like to get mine cleaned up. It makes everything look neater. It'll make your final cleanup before winter much, much easier. Or sometimes I also keep the little bit of growth that will come back on the plant to protect the roots that are there. I've also got it well mulched, which I think is important. This garden is fairly new, and I was looking, and my hellebores that I put in here last year have doubled in size, and they were so pretty. If I find a picture of them the first year, Reg and I were like, wow, this has changed. This whole garden is really new with the new planting of the heucheras. These are the 2nd season for my Japanese painted ferns, which look so nice against the guacamole heuchera. I do have some, these little spring bloomers. I never think of their names. There's one in bloom. Look at this. Sweet. We've had a lot of rain. Can you see that, Reg? Yeah, a little yellow. I can't think of the name of the plant. It'll come to me. But anyway, this garden is fairly new, and I'm loving it. But that's how easy. Look at this, how nice that looks already. Get rid of these big limbs. To the back of the garden are my peonies, which I wait. Let me step out of here. I wait. Back in here are my peonies. I wait till October to cut those completely back. I kind of even like to let them get frosted and then I cut them back. So I may still do that this year. But if they start getting and showing more signs of dieback, I'll just cut them back as well.
Now, are these some of the daylilies that you cut earlier?
Yeah, I did come in.
You can see that they're getting some leaf growth over here.
Absolutely. I cut those probably the end of August. They were looking really scraggly because some of my daylilies, they don't hold their color and texture once they're through blooming as nicely. And so I just go ahead and cut them back like I did these.
Show the new growth there.
Yeah, this is new growth. This is a month or so old. So I'm not concerned about having to cut those back. I'm going to leave those the way they are. I'd rather get rid of the heavy growth on these other ones because you can see when the frost hits, I'm going to probably leave that on the plant and give it a little more protection. So I'm leaving those. I've had a bloom on my clematis. I won't cut my clematis back yet either until spring. And I have one more daylily, I think, right over here. I'll get that. And then we will start and get a hydrangea in the pot. That will probably be a little more exciting because once you see how you cut back daylilies, it's not that hard. And all of this is going to go in my compost. I like to trim that back a little bit before it goes in the compost. What I found here, this is my basil, and it's losing some leaves. When I was cleaning out I'm going to put all this in the compost. There's a lot of those little roly-poly bugs, but they're good for the compost if they get in here. You can see them. They don't bite or anything. I don't know if you can see these little bugs, Reg, but these are little roly-polies. And you'll find them. They like decaying matter. These little tiny guys. Let me get one. But they like to go in the compost. They like to eat the decomposing stuff. So we're going to clean that out while I'm here. This is my Swiss chard, still good for cutting. So I will finish cutting back those few little daylilies. But let's decide which hydrangea is going to go in the pot. I'm excited about this. I'd love to be able to keep a hydrangea in a pot. Look at this, the rain. Anyhow, I'm going to put some soil in here. Which of the two of the hydrangeas? These are both little quick fire. Thank you, Missouri girls. This one's going to go in the pot. This may have to be a gift. So I'm just going to use some potting mix. If there's leftover potting mix, enough to fill this pot. If not, I'll add that leftover mushroom compost. Yeah. Let's get this in here. And good. Yep, I think there's going to be enough of the potting mix. I am going to put some biotone root starter in this pot because this is a perennial plant. And this is the middle of September. This will give my hydrangea 6 to 8 weeks a good time to get rooted in. And we'll see how well it'll do. That's a half a cup right in there. And let's take, I've kept it watered. Good. We'll put it right in there. And I will make a nice little sign for it. Marker. And this is going to go up on the upper deck where we'll be able to see it. Because boy, if it has those pretty blooms that fade to pink. The one thing about the little quick fire, it grows on new wood. It's not deer resistant. It says it's mediumly deer resistant. I did put one down in the upper bed where deer haven't been, but we'll see how well it does. But what I can do with this hydrangea, you can cut it back to whatever shape you want. So I can keep this to 2 to 3 feet very easily. And this one, once it gets started, I will transfer it into a larger pot. Yeah, because that's where it's going to live. I've researched it a little bit, and there's people who've kept them in pots for 5 years or more. So we'll see how well this works. I'm going to put a little more compost on, potting soil on this. And that's how easy this is going to be. And then I'll find the spot for it. It shouldn't be too hard. Sunny. Will I move it in the winter if it gets really harsh? Probably. It's at the size that I can. Although this is good to zones 3 through 9. And they say we're a zone 6. You always want to put things in a pot that are at least 2 zones below your zone that you live in for hardiness, for winter hardiness. And so that's what I'm going to do. Now, what I'll also do too, I think we're going to go shopping today to Lowe's. I'm going to get some not compost, but mulch, because I'm going to be mulching some things down the lower bed. And I will probably add a layer of compost to also protect the roots a little bit. But I'll get this watered in, and that will go up on the deck. And I mean, that's how easy it is. I don't know how long it took us to clean up this garden. Yeah, 15 minutes. This garden's set, except for one little daylily over here. And I might pull up my tomato plant too. But otherwise, this is all I'm going to do today, I think. And I feel really satisfied. I got this part of my garden done. Then tomorrow, I'll work on the lower end, and maybe I'll be able to find a spot for this beautiful, beautiful double play doozy. Isn't that red beautiful? And the leaves are red. And I'm hoping it might be in the second tier, but I'll figure that out in the next 2 days and go from there. So that's it. It's September. What were the words? Dobby da? Dobby Dobby la-di da. Listen to it. It's an earworm now. It's going to be in my head. But that's it for gardening on the West Fork. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.